We're back here again this Thursday evening for another edition of the show. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Today, we'll continue what we've been doing for the past few weeks, taking a look at the activities of sporting federations, how 2020 was, their plans for 2021, and how they will try to see what they can do in spite of the unique situation that we are all in. Of course, no thanks to COVID-19. So we'll continue with that on the show tonight as well. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. We're going to talk to someone you would love to listen to. Of course, he is the president of one of the federations. So just sit back, relax. We'll tell you who he is in a few minutes. We'll also talk about Nigeria Professional Football League. It's going to take a large chunk of the show tonight. We're going to take a lot of reactions from the managers. Of course, matches played yesterday. Talk about the reactions. We have guys in the studio, right here in the studio and far away in Port Harcourt, who would give us their perspective as to some of the things that happened and things to look forward to. And before we wrap up the show, we'll try to go to England, tell you what is going on. Arsenal currently battling it out with Crystal Palace. We'll take a look at what's going on there. Then the news about Andy Murray. What has just happened to Andy Murray? A big blow ahead of the Australian Open. We'll also discuss that on the show, all for you tonight. But first, let me quickly introduce my partner in the Lagos studio. Bolu Omoni joins me this Thursday evening. Bolu, I'm always glad to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be again, especially the moment where a certain Manchester United are now top of the Premier League table. They can't even remember when last they were there. Now, Arsenal, a resurgent team, are battling it out today in the London derby. And like they say, in derby games, your form is thrown out the window.
Sure, it is. All right, let's go straight to that discussion that I was that hinted earlier. Let's go on and join the president of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, Francis Obi. He joins us tonight. Good evening. It's good to have you join us. And since this is the first time we're seeing each other, having a conversation, let me say Happy New Year to you and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, and I wish you the same.
All right. Yeah, let's talk about 2020 in passing. It's gone, I know. But a lot of federations still trying to recover. A lot of federations didn't fare too well, 2020 and what happened in 2020. But what was the experience of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria? How did they handle the challenge, because it was a challenge, in 2020?
Well, it was quite a challenge, like you rightly said. No one expected it, and like most other people, we had to get used to it and live with it, as it were. Early in the year, we were able to go for the All-African Seniors in Egypt. And I remember very well that we were in Egypt when the first case of COVID in Africa was announced, and it was announced to be in Egypt. So we virtually scampered out of Egypt to run back to Nigeria. And of course, by the time we got here, all that happened is now history. So, we went into the lockdown and nothing virtually happened. It was a very tough time. And I know at the beginning, we were trying to reach out to our players to make sure that at least they were trying to do some form of exercise. Because at that time, there was a strict restriction, the lockdown, we wouldn't go anywhere. And of course, we also tried to reach out to them with some form of support in the way of palliatives and all that. So we try to survive and keep the game. But even in the midst of all that challenging time, there was still some good news that came out of badminton. It was during that period we had one of our umpires who was certificated by the BCA, that's the Badminton Confederation Africa. And that was the first certification we're having in about 20 years. So it was a very, very welcome development. We were very happy about it. And then we also had one of our members who was conferred with the African Women in Badminton Award by the BCA, and the person of Mrs. Sholaja. And also over this period, we started our online registration of all badminton players in the country. That is still ongoing, and it's something that is going to help us, with planning and a lot of other things. And, we had partnership with some organizations that, of course, during the period donated face masks to us, both the reusable ones and the disposable ones from our Chinese partners. So I would say that the period was quite challenging
All
and
right.
difficult for us, like with every other sport, but we just try to keep things going. Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't mean to scare you, but big question mark over all sporting events in 2021 with the current situation as it stands. 2021 is already packed because of the disruption of 2020, but now a lot of, I mean, big, huge question marks, starting from the Olympics to even our mini Olympics right here, National Sports Festival. Having all that in mind, how does it affect your plans for 2021?
Well, I would just say that we just feel in badminton, I mean, the board, the most important thing now is to just maintain a very positive mindset, because there's nothing that is within anybody's control. I mean, we are starting the new year, we are having the second wave, which seems to be more devastating than the first. So I would just say that we are coming in very hopeful and praying that things would settle very soon. We have gone ahead. We'll be releasing our calendar for this year very shortly. We've put it together, and we are hoping, all things being equal. But the most important thing for us is the safety and well-being of all our players and all our officials and everybody, in the badminton family. It's very critical, because it's only a man that is alive that can come out to either participate in sports festival or go for the Olympics. So the first and most important thing is for us to all keep safe. And we've tried to send that message out to everybody in the badminton family in Nigeria. And so basically, if you ask me, there's nothing really I can say definitely about the plans for what 2021 is going to look like, because nobody knows how it's going to go. We are just praying and hoping for the best.
All right, I agree with you. Health and safety comes first. A lot of people will agree with you on that one. It takes somebody to be alive to participate in sporting events. That's very, very true. Let's talk about badminton at a grassroots level. I mean, you've always received commendation from us here and quite a lot of people for some of your activities. So I'm going to ask you that, in spite of the unique challenges, do you plan to continue with some of your efforts aimed at taking the sports to all the nooks and crannies of the country, or probably there's going to be a slight adjustment because of the uncertainty around a lot of things in 2021?
I would just say that while coming to terms with the fact that, I mean, like we've been told by the medical experts and, I mean, other organizations, that this virus is going to be with us for a while. So we are all going to get used to living with it, and at the same time being safe. So for us in badminton, we just have to think outside the box and look for ways to be able to do as much as we can while being conscious of that safety. So basically, last year we had planned to launch this shuttle time, which was to take badminton to all the secondary schools, as many secondary schools as possible across the country. But of course, when the pandemic broke, we could not achieve that. So we are looking at how we'll be able to have that program flagged off this year. And if the conditions are right, we'll do it. Now, for other programs, for example, I was telling somebody that, because badminton wasn't very popular, we're trying to look for ways to draw people to the game, get them to come to venues to come and watch. All of a sudden, we are faced with a situation where we are now to discourage people from coming to venues. So it's now the other way around. So how do we, when we could attract people to come, it was already difficult. So what do we do now? So, I mean, like I announced some time ago, they're developing an app that people can download on their phones and they'll be able to watch and follow games whenever they are. So that way, we are now going to discourage people, but at the same time, they will still be able to see the beauty and enjoy, badminton being played at a high level.
Yeah.
So those are all ways we are thinking that eventually, because right now, I can tell you that normally when we have championships, national championships, we have about 150 to 200 players. And that when we do that, we even try to to restrict the number of players that come from each state. So now we are now thinking of ways we'll still be able to have those championships, but reducing the number of players that will have to come to the venue. So maybe we'll have some zonal playoffs and all that. And by the time we have the national, have a manageable number of people where we'll be able to observe the protocols and make sure that we do all that is necessary to make sure that everybody is safe. So it's a totally different ball game. It's a challenge, but we are determined and we are sure that we'll be able to overcome.
All right, correct me if I'm wrong. From where I stand, one of the challenges that sporting event like yours do have is the perception that it's either elitist or that it's just leisure, that it's not a professional sports. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that could be one of the challenges that you have to grapple with as well.
Yeah, and that's why we felt the way to get around that was to create more awareness about the game, have people being able to watch the game. One of the things during the lockdown, there was a video clip of a rally badminton during one of the, I think, World Championships or so. I think there were about two different clips that it went viral because I received it from so many people, even people who were not badminton people. And a lot of the comments were like, wow, we didn't know the game was this interesting. So for people who think it's leisure or it's not a very interesting game, it takes for someone to go watch a game of badminton for them to understand and appreciate the beauty and the excitement of the game. And the only way we can get more people to see that is to be able to bring the game to them at a very high level. So basically, it's a challenge, but like you said, it's something we have to grapple with and see how we can get more and more people to see the game at its finest.
All right, talking about stimulating interest, there's also one of the things, that I thought about, I looked at. I also think it could be a challenge. For some sports, football, for instance, you just need open space, one ball. 22 people chase it around. Table tennis, get a table, and But you look at sports like yours, what you would call the starter park, the courts, the rackets, and everything. Some people might say, I don't think it's expensive, but some people might say it's a bit expensive. So that challenge as well, how do you walk around it for those who are actually interested in participating and probably hoping to become professionals in the sport?
Well, funny enough, I had that conversation yesterday. It's a misconception. Some people say badminton is elitist and some say it's expensive, but it's not. And I was breaking it down yesterday. For a beginner, for the children, for example, in the secondary schools that want to take the game to, you can get a racket for as low as 3,000 naira. And I don't think that is so unaffordable. A tube of shuttle, nylon that can last you for months, you can get for about 6,000 naira. So, which is why these are shuttle time program, comes in very, very critical for us because we intend to introduce the game to these schools. It's a lot of work that is going to be done. Train the games masters, take them on courses, and organize competitions among schools that are so, that we've introduced the game to so that we can begin to discover talent from that young age. So, and it just takes for somebody to experience the game, which is why our partnership with our Chinese groups is very, very important to us because we also want to make the equipment available and affordable so that misconception won't be there. People as they are getting to know the game, they will be able to, because once you know you want to buy a racket or buy shuttle or buy canvas to play, then you begin to look for where to get. And that will become it. So we are trying to make sure that this goes side by side as we are making the game more popular, making people more aware of the game, and they will want to take interest and say, okay, we want to play this game. How do we get the equipment? Where do we get rackets? We want to make sure that those also are available and at the same time affordable. So it's something we are looking at very critically and very important to us for the growth of the game.
Finally, before I let you go, I just have a question or two before I let you go. What about, access to centers where, you could play this game? The spread of venues where, okay, I love badminton, I want to play badminton, I've crossed the hurdle of getting my starter pack and all. Okay, where can I go? How easily, how accessible is it for me to get to those places where I could play, where I could get some form of training in the game?
That's a major challenge, and you've touched on there. I've always shared with people, it will surprise you to know that in Nigeria, we don't have a single dedicated badminton facility. There's none. What we have are multi-purpose halls. You go to the various stadiums, you get multi-purpose halls. So badminton, table tennis, basketball, handball, gymnastics, taekwondo, just name it. So in a week or two, when some other sport is using that facility, badminton cannot train there. And that is why it's a major issue for us. We have private member clubs that have dedicated badminton halls, but those places, like I said, are private member. So our players can't just go there. So what we've done, we've tried to get into some kind of partnership with these clubs so that they can grant access to some of our players to train in very good facilities so that they will train in somewhere close to the kind of facilities they will play if they travel out to train. The World Body also saw this challenge, and in trying to still make the game as popular as possible, just introduced air badminton that can be played outside. Mind you, even the normal badminton is an indoor game, but there are a lot of clubs. If you go to Abuja, you'll be shocked at the number of spaces around the city where you can play badminton. In the evenings, gardens, people have courts. The game is growing, but when you are playing outside, once it's windy, you can't enjoy the game. And of course, if it's raining, you can't play. So the World Body has introduced air badminton. And what is the difference between air badminton and the indoor? The shuttle is different. So they've produced a shuttle that can withstand, the weather. So that if you are playing, even when the wind is a bit high, it will still be able to withstand it and you can enjoy the game. So air badminton, we are going to formally introduce it. It was just flagged off last year, and we intend to bring it out here. But like you said, facilities, venues to play badminton, the indoor game is a major challenge, and we are grappling with that as much as possible. One of the things we think would aid the growth of the game is if we are able to have a dedicated facility.
All right.
I went to China on a visit, and they took me to some of their facilities. You go to a hall, you see 22 courts. In Nigeria, I don't think there's any hall that can take more than 6.
All right.
And that was in Port Harcourt Civic Center, where we had the All Africa. We were able to put in 6 courts, and that has been the largest number of.
All right. Okay, Francis Obi, President of Badminton Federation of Nigeria. I want to thank you for your time on the show tonight. Our best wishes to you and your federation. Hopefully, you get to carry out your agenda in 2021 as much as situation allows.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so that's it. We're speaking with the Badminton Federation President, and he's been shedding light on some of the issues affecting his federation, plans for the year that's talking about 2021. I wanted to put a pause on it right about now and go on a break. When we return from that break, we're talking about Nigeria Professional Football League and all related issues. John Scott. Welcome back. I still have Bolu Omani with me, and I want to take a look at what happened yesterday in the the Nigeria Professional Football League. Let's start by taking a look at match day 4 results. We talked about it yesterday, but we're going to talk about it in detail today. We're going to go to some venues, take some reactions. But first, I think it's only fitting to take a look again at the results. And, of course, Bolu will tell us, share his thoughts with us. Adamawa United and Nasarawa United, goalless, Dakada and MFM. MFM were accused of celebrating like they won something. It was a draw. Abia Warriors. Well, this one I don't understand. Football teaches us many lessons. Jigawa Golden Stars piling more pressure on the Mama Makopabo with this defeated Abia Warriors 3-1. Sunshine Stars and Lobby Stars. One of our feature matches, we'll talk about it. And Lobby Stars played a 2-2 draw. Kano Pillars defeated Plateau United. Plateau United coach had some things to say about the victory. Wiki Tourist, of course, defeated Rivers United. Rivers United still topping, even after 4 games. That's why losing. Rangers defeated FC Fanyuba 2-1. Then Kwara United and Aqua United played a 1-1 draw. Bolu, let's start with the game. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but let's start with the Sunshine and Sunshine and Lobby Stars game that ended 2-2. I remember the other time, I think the Sunshine coach came to Lagos, his team lost, that we played well, didn't take our chances. Then at home now, played a 2-2 draw. Obviously, I'm very sure he's not happy with the result.
Actually, I think for me that was the game of the week. We had games with 3-0 and all, but I think that was a particular game. And with the fact that both coaches just switched sides. And before now, Gunga Gumbote has a healthy record against his former sides. And well, I thought it was going to lose. And voila, they got a very, very late goal. But they played well. I think one of their best games in terms of performance was the loss to MFM at the Agege Stadium. Aside the goal they considered, they were super. But again, like we say all the time, the only way to play football is to win. No matter what to do with possession attempt, if you fail to win your games, you are definitely going to lose. The early goal came for Sunshine by forward, but O.C. Martins 2 goals from both sides, both halves. And some could call it a scrabble, whatever grammar he wants to use, but they found the goal late on in the 92nd minute. There is no better way to celebrate a good performance than getting the goal. Yes, you didn't get to win, but believe me, they will celebrate more. And Lobby Stars will think we lost 2 points, and definitely for Sunshine Stars, in their mind, no matter how sad Benga Gumbote will be excited they won a point because they lost would have been more problem for us. So I think it was a very, very interesting game.
And probably would have piled more pressure on him. All right, let's go to Port Harcourt quickly. Friend of the house, Fisayo Dairo, joins us as well. It's good to have him share his perspective with us. Fisayo, good evening. It's nice to have you join us on the show. So just pitching straight, we're talking about a game that I just saw right now, Sunshine Stars and Lobby, ended 2-2. But your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, good evening to Yemi and good evening to the viewers. Yes, Sunshine Stars against Lobby Stars ended in a quite dramatic fashion. Not many expected that. And, there were lots of records between both teams, especially the 2 coaches. Kabiru Dogo, who is in charge of Lobby Stars, was in charge of Sunshine last season. Same goes with Benga Gumbote. And just like you guys highlighted, Sunshine scored first, and it seemed as though it's going to be another home win for them. But they had to dig deep in stoppage time to equalize. I think that's just the nature of the league this season. A number of shocking results here and there, and that almost ended in an away win. You could have added to the other away win we had yesterday in Aba. I think it's good for neutrals. No fans were allowed in the stadium, so it gives every team the opportunity to express themselves, to go anywhere, to claim points. We've seen penalty awarded away from home against Lobby Stars in last Sunday against Warri Wolves, and now we've also seen teams scoring lots of goals away from home. I think it's a good development for the league.
All right, good point, Visayo raised. Every venue looking like a neutral venue now since we don't have fans. A good point. All right, let's take some reaction from both managers who know each other very well, know their respective teams very well as well. Benga Gumbote and Kabiru Dogo. Let's listen to what they had to say after that draw.
The league is still fresh. We still have a long way to go, all the team. You cannot let off any team now. But at this point, we do a lot of favor for me. At least serve as a good motivation for my next game and my next home game. So for me, I think it's a good result for
every team is trained to win games. And if you look at it, history has given that goals are scored within the early minutes of the game and towards the last minute of the game. We're taking advantage of it, and thank God we got it right, but we couldn't manage it till the end of it. I think we had a careless moment there. You understand? We had a careless moment, and otherwise we have no reason to consider first goal. So, but be it as it may, sometimes, you pay a price for your, negligence or not doing the right thing or playing against basic.
Yeah, I would say it was a good match, a good fight from both sides. We had the opportunity of going on with the 3 point, but we made some lapses at the dying minute and it cost us the match. But I want to thank God for giving us at least a point away from home.
We go back to our drawing board to make sure we do our correction. I believe the coach, that is coach impart. Coach will impart some a lot of things when we get to training. In any mistake we make here, I believe coach is going to correct it.
All right. Sunshine Stars, Lobby paying the price. We're almost getting away with a win. Let me start with Fisayo and talk about two of our teams that may, I'm choosing my word carefully, may meet each other very soon outside of the Nigeria Professional Football League. I want to quickly let us talk about Enyimba and Rivers United. Of course, Heartland beat Enyimba, and of course, Rivers United lost as well. I want to quickly get your thoughts about those two games. I don't know, I probably thought Enyimba will get a draw against Heartland. They were struggling and all, but it was good for Heartland. They won that game, and of course, all their troubles pushed aside for a while.
Yeah, many people also felt Enyimba could get something in Owerri, but that's the nature of derbies. When it comes to derbies, be it Oriental Derby, Northern Derby, or anywhere in the world, the form book is torn into shreds, and that's what happened. Also with the fact that Fidelis Lechuku came back to rescue his team. He wasn't on the dugout when they lost to Plateau United through the on Sunday, so he made his way back. And Heartland have always been a very difficult match for Enyimba anytime they face in a way. So I'm not really surprised, although 2-0 scoreline is a bit surprising, but it's quite expected that Heartland will give everything they have in the arsenal. And for Rivers United, they've been unbeaten in the last 4 matches in all competitions. But by now, we know that away trips is always going to be difficult. They're always going to be banana peels, which is not won this season before yesterday, despite the enormous activity they had in pre-season. So it was expected that Usman Abdallah would get a win against Rivers United, and they did that. Both teams, yes, might likely be facing on 14th of February and 21st. Incidentally, both teams are billed to meet the NPFL on the 21st of February. So it was bound to happen anyway. Of course, both teams, before then, we have to play 3 or 4 league matches, which will make their continental meeting a spectacle.
All right, let me come to Bolu. I don't know, for sentimental reasons, we're focusing on those two teams in the lead up to what could eventually be a game outside of the Premier League between both sides. But I want to get your thoughts. I, for one, like I just told Fisayo, wasn't expecting Enyimba to lose, especially because I felt Heartland having really been doing well. But any surprises in the 2 games?
I think it was a huge surprise for me, the Enyimba game. Like Riley said, before that game, Heartland had 0 points, and they were having issues with money and everything. And even Lechuku had to come out and say, well, the boys will give their best, but he believes the money problem is one of the things that's affecting them. But to defeat Enyimba was not even the biggest problem. The fact that, like I said, 2-0, Enyimba not getting a goal against Heartland. I thought if there was going to be an away win, probably Enyimba could be the one to the source. Although Enyimba disappointed me a few times this season, especially on the continent. But 2-0 win is a big boost for Heartland. And again, like we said earlier, in derby matches, whatever happens before sometimes doesn't count. It's what happens on the field of play, because you know yourselves very well, you are neighbors and all that. And that's exactly what we saw. And for Rivers United, I thought they could maybe get a draw, continue their unbeaten run and their winning streak. But again, they draw points. And now we could probably see both of them play like 3 games in the space of a week or 2, and we see such in Europe. And saying it here is not strange, but it's kind of word that two teams for the same country are meeting in the preliminary round, but good game for them at the weekend. And the other oriented derby, the man I actually pick out, that's the Rangers game. The man I'm picking out is Israel Abia. Before joining Rangers, he was scoring goals. Joining Rangers, scoring goals. The new season now, he has scored in 3 straight games. He's one of the players I think everyone should look out for because winning the top goal scorer in Nigerian League means consistent goal scoring, and Israel Abia is one of those showing that.
All right, let's take some reactions from the game the guys I've talked about. Let's take reactions from the game between Wiki Torres and Rivers United. We'll listen to Usman Abdallah. And of course, a coach that's been on the saddle for a very, very long time, Stanley Eguma, sharing their thoughts, talking about the game between Wiki Torres and Rivers United.
We are happy because normally we are looking for points now more than even goals. So it's not about scoring 3 or 4. If we can get to score more goals, it's okay. But the most important thing is the points. We came out to bag in the maximum 3 points so that we can lift from the opposition. And we got it. We are happy with the performance of the boys. I think it's the beginning of the it's a morale booster for the boys. I know they will pick up because we have a lot of young talent. You see, some of them are playing the league for the first time. So and they are blending very well, what you can see there. So it's a promising team. I think it's good to have this win so that the morale of the boys will boost and we get forward.
I think after the game we played last on Sunday, we had a terrific moment traveling from Port Harcourt to Bauchi. We have a hectic period because fatigue was very, very instrumental in our loss today. I think I will do that. Maybe because of the breakages we had breakdown we had on the road before coming. But I think that the players tried their best.
All right, Stanley Eguma, I'm going to choose my words carefully. Fatigue, you buy it. Valid reasons, though.
Most of the time, we talk about fatigue if we don't get to a positive result. I remember
we probably wouldn't have had that if they won.
People were hitting around Madrid at the weekend. Wednesday talked about the delay in flight and everything. So it's a norm. When you don't win,
it's a valid reason.
It's valid.
I'm not knocking him for that.
They played probably more games than almost everybody in the PFL. So it's valid, but it's still match day 4. So I don't think I remember they didn't play their second leg against Celtic. So I think fatigue is just the easiest excuse to pick up from. At least we lost this game. We have to say something. But again, you have to credit Wiki for winning their game.
But you see, nobody's knocking them for losing this game because a lot of people seem to be quite impred with Rivers United of late. So I don't know. Maybe I should just go to Fisayo and get this. But pictures from that game, I mean, looking good. Like you said the other time, I mean, everywhere is a neutral venue now, so people are playing good football. So, Fisayo, let me get your thoughts. We just saw the clips and we listened to Stanley Eguma. Not that we're trying to pick out his words, but, Golu said, and I tend to agree, it's too early in the season to be talking about fatigue, but that's his excuse for losing that game. We talk about the travel plans and how all of those things coincided and led to that. But I don't know if you're buying it these early stages.
Well, we could say it's too early to make excuses, but I think it's what traveling from Port Harcourt from Monday morning to Bauchi, it's always going to be hectic. You fly the team to Abuja, and from Abuja, they could have continued on the road to Wiki because this team has been doing fine, both domestically and on the continent. So for Aqua United, for instance, they were able to fly from Port Harcourt to Lagos, and they drove on the road from Lagos to Ilorin. What was the result? They got a point. So I think maybe Rivers United management should look into that going forward. But I think it's a valid excuse. Heartland also made the same excuse when they went to Jos. There will always be excuses. And just like Bolu said earlier on, there will always be excuses for failure. When you fail, that's when you remember that your vehicle broke down on the road or you didn't arrive on time. But it is what it is. We hope that when they come back, they have plenty days to arrive before playing their game. It's going to be difficult also against Heartland on Sunday. Nobody wants to listen to an excuse when you're playing at home. I think it's just what it is. But yes, too early, but it just has to be said.
All right. Okay, so let's go to another venue and talk about what happened. Let's just show you pictures from that game that had Kwara United and Aqua United ended 1-0. Pictures. A lot of people in love, by the way, in love with the Aqua United jersey. A lot of people seem to like that jersey. But ended 1-0, and I'm going to ask you if you're surprised. Kwara United, I think 14th on the table. They've played 3 matches, have 1 game in hand. That game is against Aimba, though. but it's still, after 4 games, it's not a bad position, really. Yeah.
He got the first goal or the only goal for Kwara from the spot. Then about 6 or 7 minutes later, he scored an own goal. But overall, they've not done so badly, considering where they came from. Remember last season, after the takeover, they were just going down, digging crude oil, like people jokingly say. But they picked themselves up against Aqua United. Aqua United are one of the teams you expect any day, anytime, home or away. You always expect something big from them, although they've not started well as well. They now have 5 points. But I think it's a good point for Kwara United. Against Aqua, it's a good point for them. Aqua have not started so convincing. They have 5 out of their 4 games. I remember their opening game, despite having a 4-0 back and all. One of the major challenges some of the top teams in Code are having so far this season is goals. And I love what Abdallah said. It's not about, we don't even care about goals. We just want to win points.
Just win.
And that's the most important thing. You can have, if you win 1-0 all through the season and have 38 goals, you can win you will win the league, not even you can. So sometimes performance is key. But for a league game, it's when we are talking of underage, you can be look, okay, let's see how they perform, growth. But for a league match, you just need to get your points irrespective of how you play. That's why we keep saying the only way to play football is to win games, not how much possession or whatever. So I think it's a good point for Kwara United. And the fact that they were playing at home, they tried not to lose that game, and they did not lose.
All right, so that's Bolu's take on that game. And I seem to agree as well. But let me get Fisayo's take as well on this game. Surface looks good from the pictures. I'm not at the stadium, but from the pictures, surface looks good. So your thoughts on the game?
I really like the point that Bolu stressed, which is the fact that almost every team in the league is struggling with the goals. That's one of the challenges of Aimba, especially. That was why I was in Aba when they lost to Almeric, or when they beat Almeric 2-1. They could have scored 5-6 goals on the night, but they were wasteful. And the same thing with Kwara United now. For Aqua, they have lots of attacking potentials, but they're not getting the goals. So, well, maybe I wouldn't totally agree that Kwara would be happy that they avoided a defeat. They were playing at home, so the onus is on them. I saw them in Port Harcourt on Sunday when they lost 3-0 against Rivers United. I think they were hard done by 2 quick goals in the first half by Rivers United, but at home, you should win. That was the first home of the season. Yes, fans are not in the stadium, but that's how your fans reading on the pages of newspapers and listening to radio stations want to see you grab points at home. But it has not become a neutral venue to all, and it's just a fair result. And more so, like I said earlier on, Aqua United were able to fly to Lagos from Port Harcourt, and they were able to ease the stress of the journey on their players, and they got a valuable point for that.
All right, let's switch now. We're done with this one, so let's move on. Let's talk about a game that had some sort of comic relief, MFM and Dakada. I saw some comments on Twitter. It was funny, but it ended 1-1, and some were making jests, and some just making light of MFM celebrating as if they won. But I had 1-1. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying it was comic relief because, they appreciated the draw. So I was wondering what they would have done if they had won that game, with the way it all happened. But Bolu, let me come to you. Dakada, probably still in the shadows of their more illustrious neighbors. But then, he ended 1-1. There's not much that can be said. We're seeing the pictures. Every home side wants to win, but the visiting team too is here to play football. They didn't come to count bridges like we say in local parlance.
Well, people who say MFM celebrated that much probably didn't see Sunshine Stars.
Okay.
After Sunshine scored in the 92nd minute, they ran everywhere thinking, well, we won. Yeah, sometimes it's important to get points. And the fact that it's away, we know how difficult it is getting a point away from home in the MPFL. And, well, the positives for Dakada, they are still unbeaten in the league so far. 2 draws and 2 wins. even though they drop point at home, but they are still close to the top. They are closer to the top than they are to the bottom. But again, they would love to win. Like what I said earlier, at home in the NPFL, just win your games. It does not matter how many goals you score, just win. But for MFM, I tell you, maybe for bias reasons, I just have a soft spot for MFM. Maybe because they are the ones I really see more than every other team in the Nigerian league. But they did so well, getting the away points. They considered first, and in the 7 minutes or thereabout, Adebayo equalized for them. In the NPFL, sometimes even when you equalize late, you can still consider very late. Yeah. So picking up the point, I think it's a good one for MFL.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But let's leave it there for a while. We need to go to break right about now. When we return, we'll still be talking about the Nigeria Professional Football League. I told you earlier, it's going to take a large chunk of the show tonight. So let's have that break. Come back for more Sports Tonight.
First of all, I want to say that my boys did not play to instruction, because why I said so was that during the pre-match talk, I told them what these guys came for. That all they came for was shooting from afar, because they know definitely they cannot walk their way inside the net, and definitely that was what happened. And even Mopo, my player came back to pick on that man. I don't think that would have happened. So it's a lesson and it's a football we've learned for today. So we're going to go back and we'll work on it.
Yes, actually, I have studied the team for quite some times. And that's why you see at the end of the first half, I decided to bring in 3 players so that the second half will be able to go on them. And at the end of the day.
Kingsley and Tony Bolus each sharing their thoughts about that game. All right, let's go to Fisayo now. But, there's a different matter I want you to help us talk about. And you're talking about it because you're closer to the place than we are. Let's talk about what's happening in the camp of Abia Warriors. Of course, we are hearing that Coach Imama Makapabo has been given a 3-match ultimatum. He must win those 3 matches. And of course, at the back of losing to Jigawa Golden Stars, it probably is expected. So, I mean, just give us a summary of what is happening. Probably is things we don't know. Like I said, you're closer to that end that we are here in Lagos. So, what is happening and the build-up to all of this?
Well, it's no longer news that Abia Warriors are the only team to have lost all 4 matches so far this season. And for a team like Warriors that have not actually been bad since they promoted to the MPFL, it's going to be unacceptable. And earlier today, the management announced the decision to hand the 2016 league winning coach a 3-match ultimatum to win their next 3 matches. And to put it in proper context, these 3 matches are away to Dakar, to FC Fariba on Sunday. They'll be at home to MFMFC, and then they'll be away to Lobby Stars of Makurdi. So the task is that Imama Mapakabo, who has failed to record a win in 4 games, should win all the 3 games. That's the summary. But if you will need my input, I think it's a difficult task for him. But something in me thinks that if he'll be able to get 4 points out of the possible 9, I think he'll be safe. I think he'll keep his job. The biggest task, and the first one, is on Sunday at FC Fariba, who are also winless in their last 2 matches. They actually lost their last 2 matches, including their last home game. So this is a baby-oriental derby between Abia Warriors and FC Fariba, and both teams have plenty to play for. Nobody wants to be dragged into a relegation dogfight earlier on. So it's really going to be very massive.
All right, Said, I want to thank you for your time on the show. It was nice having your thoughts and your inputs. Hopefully, we'll get to do this some other time.
Like I said, the pleasure is mine.
All right, so that's our friend, Fisayo Dairo, all the way from Port Harcourt. All right, Bolu, we're pressed for time. We have to go to England. What are your thoughts? Fisayo says he thinks if he gets 4 out of 9, probably, but they're saying win 3 or get sacked. You just have to win 3.
Out of the 3, there are 2 away games. Out of the 4, they lost all and they played 2 at home. And they're going to lobby, like he mentioned.
Do you agree that 4 will be good enough, as he said?
4 is meant to be good enough, but from what they are saying, we want to win all 3. And I would be surprised even with the way they are going, they may not even win any of them. And he may not last the 4. If he loses 2, they may just sack him before them. But I think it's coming. Like people say, Abia Warriors normally start not so good, maybe start slow, but this time this is worse than slow. They've lost all 4 games, and it looks like they'll still lose more. They are not playing like we want to get there. So for me, I think it's, if they really want to sack him after 3 games, they think it's the end of the road for Imama.
All right, so fingers crossed. We'll see what happens to Imama in that one. All right, let's quickly travel to England. Let's give you situation report, Arsenal and Crystal Palace, as we prepare to wrap things up on the show. Situation report, it's goalless and it's halftime in that game. Goalless, it's halftime, and truth of the matter is both sides need this game.
Arsenal need the game. It looked like they're in form. Arsenal, many thought, will probably be closer to relegation. Now suddenly they're getting back up. And again, we've said it over time, in derby matches, whatever happens is not important. Some people say for bias reason, you want Saka's team to win. At the same time, for bias reason, you want maybe Chies's team to win. So whatever happens, let's see who will shine the most.
Bolu, Omoni, I want to thank you for your time. Always a pleasure having you do this. I don't know if you have a parting shot. It's always good having you here.
Well, my party shot should be Real Madrid. It looks like they're more in trouble now. Remember when they played Athletic Bilbao, Raul Garcia got sent off in the 12th minute. Now he's playing again and he has scored 2 goals against them in the Spanish Super Cup.
Is that poetic justice?
More problems for Real Madrid.
All right, Bolu, I want to thank you for your time, and I want to thank you as well. Always good knowing you're there for us anytime we'll come here to do what we love doing best. We'll do this again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.